No man would be center of the whole afternoon about Richard Rodgers apart from Mr. Jonathan Schwartz.
This is, first of all, a microphone that's not on. And once it's on, I'll tell you what it's supposed to be. This is supposed to be a radio studio. Last year, it was mistaken just for a desk and a chair. I have no idea why. But it's here to create the illusion of a radio studio. I'm very happy to be here. I really am. This is a good opportunity for you to see and hear musicians of the highest order who are of a certain age. That is to say, they're not Carmen McRae and Sarah Vaughan, but they love the American songbook, and obviously you do too. You were sitting in this room. So thank you for coming. The song that Ted played, Manhattan, by Rodgers and Hart, was the song that Rodgers all his life called the song that made Rodgers and Hart, which means it also made Rodgers and Hammerstein, because Rodgers, of course, went on and started a new collaboration with Oscar Hammerstein. That right now there's a king and I in this town. Richard Rodgers, and don't argue with me because this is true, is the most played composer of any kind of music who ever lived. Now you might say, well, what about Mozart? Well, Mozart's being heard on radio station. We hear next a performance of Mozart's 40th Symphony in G minor. Parenthesis. I was listening to one of those guys saying, "We hear next a performance." And he loved his deep voice. And he was taking his time. And he said, "We hear next a performance of Mozart's 40th Symphony in G minor, the Philadelphia Symphony Orchestra under the direction of Eugene Ormandy." Now, that was all that was required. But he loved his sound. And he added the following. The Philadelphia Symphony Orchestra will be conducted by Eugene Ormandy with his baton. He found no way out of it. Yes. With his baton. Remember Fleetwood? That was the fellow's name. I think it was his full name, Fleetwood. A lovely fellow who just loved classical music and the sound of his voice. I have a friend. I met him in 1982. We have had adventures that you don't want to know about. And the music that I've heard since 1982 from this man is simply wonderful. Even though an earthquake took place during one of them, we were in the California desert, where I've come by right now, hence the tan. I didn't want you to worry about me or think I was John Boehner. He was playing an Irving Berlin song. Better luck next time, that will never be. Tonight, it's all Richard Rodgers. You can't go wrong, because in the end, it all comes down to Rodgers. Ladies and gentlemen, John Pizzarelli.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for the neighborhood. Rodgers.
Joke.
It's not that one?
No. It's another fellow, indeed.
Another?
Okay. When did you think of that joke?
It was a good joke. It worked.
Was it last night you thought of it, or a couple of weeks ago?
Thought of it in the dressing room about 40 minutes ago.
I believe that.
And the words "go with it" came into me. But you know, Jonathan, let's hear. On the 1st of May, it is moving day. Spring is here, so blow your job, throw your job away. Now's the time to trust to your wanderlust. In the city's dust you wait. Must you wait? Just you wait. Where it says now. 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. In a mountain greenery where God paints the scenery, just two crazy people together. While you love your lover, let blue skies be your coverlet. When it rains, we'll laugh at the weather. And if you're good, I'll search for wood so you can cook while I stand looking. Beans could get no keener reception in a beanery. Bless our mountain greenery home. Scenery, just two crazy people together. While you love your lover, let blue skies be your coverlet. When it rains, we'll laugh at the weather. Mosquitoes, dear, won't harm you, dear. I'll let them sting me on the finger. Oh, beans could get no keener reception in a beanery. Bless our mountain greenery home. Yes, bless our mountain greenery home.
John, I want to take it for a second. I grew up around Richard Rodgers, and I asked him one time, where was the oddest place you heard any of your songs being played? And his face broke into an effulgent smile. He said, well, I was hiking in the Alps, and a little kid was coming up next to me, just a kid hiking, singing his high little voice, ba, 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 da, ba. And he considers that the oddest place he ever heard a song that he wrote.
Well, I was once at a day camp. No, I have nothing to say. This is a song that I made a record of Rodgers' songs a number of years ago. Please hold your applause. It's a record called With a Song in My Heart. And when looking over material, my wife, the actress and singer Charlize Theron, said to me, that maybe I should look at this tune I'm about to play for you. And because of my lack of knowledge of pretty much anything, I sort of looked at the song and came up with this little version of this song written by Rodgers and Hammerstein from South Pacific. You've got to be taught to hate and fear. You've got to be taught from year to year. It's got to be drummed in your dear little ear. You've got to be carefully taught. Carefully taught. You've got to be taught to be afraid of people whose eyes are oddly made, and people whose skin is a different shade. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught before it's too late, before you are 6 or 7 or 8, to hate all the people your relatives hate. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be carefully taught. Carefully taught. Carefully taught. Carefully taught. You've got to be carefully taught. It's a pretty good little song from 1949. There were actually people at the time when that song was in the show, South Pacific. They said, we don't really like that song. And Rodgers and Hammerstein said, well, we got a great solution. No song, no show. And cooler heads prevail. If you see the show, you won't hear the James Taylorization of that song performed. It is a version that has confused people. When I did it at the Carlisle a couple of years ago, and at the end a guy came up to me and said, enjoyed the whole show except for that protest song. I kid about my wife, but honestly, the brains of the operation and my better half, Jessica Molaski, ladies and gentlemen.
Charlize Theron. Actually, I'm Jessica Pizzarelli. I chose to not go from Molaski to Pizzarelli because I frankly thought it was a lateral move. This is a song from a show that it was my first Broadway show I was ever in when I was 19 years old. It changed my life. What you gonna do when a fella gets flirty and starts to talk purty? What you gonna do? Supposing that he says that your lips are like cherries or roses or berries, what you gonna do? Supposing that he says that you're sweeter than cream and he's gotta have cream or die. What you gonna do when he talks that way? Spit in his eye? I'm just a girl who can't say no. I'm in a terrible fix. I always say, come on, let's go, just when I ought to say nix. When a person tries to kiss a girl, I know she ought to give his face a smack. But as soon as someone kisses me, me. I somehow sorta wanna kiss him back. I'm just a fool when lights are low. I can't be prissy and quaint. I ain't the type that can faint. How can I be what I ain't? I can't say no. Ain't having any fun. Every time I lose a wrestling match, I have a funny feeling that I won. I can't resist a Romeo in a sombrero and chaps. Soon as I sit on their laps, something inside of me snaps. I can't say no. Thank you.
Look at yourself.
Uh-huh. Look at yourself. If you had a sense of humor, you would laugh to beat the band. Look at yourself. Do you still believe the rumor that romance is simply grand? Since you took it right on the chin, you have lost that bright toothpaste grin. My mental state is all a jumble. I sit alone and sadly mumble.
Fools rush in, so here I am, very glad to be unhappy. I can't win, but here I am, more than glad to be unhappy. Unrequited love support, and I've got it pretty bad. But for someone you adore, it's a pleasure to be sad, like a stray in babyland, with no mammy and no pappy. I'm so unhappy, but oh, so sad.
Was rushing, so here I am, very glad to be unhappy. I can't win, so here I am, very glad to be unhappy. Unrequited love's a bore.
Unrequited love's a bore,
And I've got it pretty bad.
and I've got it pretty bad.
But for someone you adore,
But for someone you adore,
it's a pleasure I'm so unhappy. I'm oh so happy. Oh so happy. And oh so sad. Thank you. That was arranged by the great Don Sebesky. That's the wonderful Don Sebesky. And I actually sang that song on a record that I did called Make Believe with Richard Rodgers, thank you, grandson, Adam Gettle. And of all the songs that his grandfather wrote, Glad to Be Unhappy was his favorite song, Adam Gettle's favorite song. This is a song that I shouldn't sing after a certain age because it's very fast. After 3 drinks or... it's from Cinderella. Cinderella, a movie that changed my life when I was a little girl.
Me too.
We'll talk about that later. Why should a fellow want a girl like her, a frail and fluffy beauty? Why can't a fellow ever once prefer a solid girl like me? She's a frothy little bubble with a flimsy kind of charm, and with very little trouble, I can make her lure arm. Oh, why would a fellow want a girl like her, so obviously unusual? Why can't a fellow ever once prefer a usual girl like me? What's the matter with the man? What's the matter with the man? What's the matter with the man? Why can't a fella ever once prefer a solid girl like me? Why would a fella want a girl like her, a girl who's merely lovely? Why could a fella ever once prefer a girl who's merely me? She's a frothy little bubble with a flimsy kind of charm, and with very little trouble, I can break her little arm. Oh! What's the matter with the man? What's the matter with the man? Why can a fella ever once prefer a girl who's merely me? What's the matter with the man? What's the matter with the man? What's the matter with the man?
What's the matter with the man? Jessica Molaski.
John Pizzarelli.
Thank you.
Ted Firth. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for having us, Johnny.
It's like the Carson Show. You get to go to the couch.
Like the Carson Show, yeah. Big.
Hello, Jonathan.
Jessica, that's just wonderful.
Thank you.
And a good choice.
I actually sang that song for Stephen Sondheim for the revival of Sunny in the Park with George, and it got me the job. I figured, Roger and Hammerstein can't go wrong for Mr. Sondheim, right? He laughed.
Absolutely, and the other thing to understand is that he knew the song.
Yeah.
I've never known a man who knows every song. He really does.
Yes.
I sang Happy Habit at the Carlisle, and he said, "Thank you for singing my Aunt Dottie's song, my Aunt Dorothy's song." Dorothy Fields, of course.
He loved it. Yeah.
And it's a very obscure song. I learned Happy Habit from you.
Oh, it's terrific. And then no one. Mae Barnes sang it in the show, and now there's a record by Jessica Molaski of Happy Habit keeps you happy all day. Dorothy Fields, the lyric. You are constantly, the two of you on the road. it
That's why he thinks I'm Charlize Theron.
What'd you say?
That's why I think she's Charlize Theron.
I got it late, but I got it. It just strikes me as a difficult life with a child about to go into college and so on. Is it?
No.
We get to sing for our supper, you know? I think that's not something you can complain about.
We have better dates in better places because we work together.
Yeah.
It's a fun thing, you know.
And college costs $67,000 a year now, so keep playing that guitar, honey.
I got to go in about 10 minutes.
I'd forgotten that you actually, not intentionally, quoted a title, Rogers Nut title. Sing for your supper and you'll get breakfast. Is that on your Rogers album? Did you do
No.
that? Oh, it's a terrific song.
Well, not part 2.
The next album of yours, John, came about because...
Because Paul McCartney wrote me a letter a year ago.
Was it typed or on email?
It was on a letter, Paul McCartney letterhead, typed out, Dear John, typed out, and then signed, sincerely, and then he signed Paul, and then in parentheses put McCartney. True. I had made a record with Sir Paul. I was the rhythm guitarist on his Kisses on the Bottom CD, which was a record of standard songs. And we got along really well. I was just a rhythm guitarist. Diana Krall was the musical director. It was a Grammy Award-winning record of standards. And then just a year ago, May 28th, not that I remembered, the FedEx guy showed up and said, I got this FedEx here from London. And I was going, well, who could that be? And it was, one of those little flat things. And I looked at it, and it said MPL Communications. And I said to the guy, it's from Paul McCartney. And he said, sign here. So he went away, and I opened the letter. And it just basically said, Dear John, hope all is well. And Bucky, too. He always put and Bucky, too. And then said... don't know if you'd be interested in this at all, but I have this crazy idea that maybe you could make a record of the songs of my post-Beatle catalog, and the record could be called like Midnight McCartney, and there could be a dishy little picture of you against the Manhattan skyline, maybe with Bucky too. And I hope you think maybe this is a good idea or just the ramblings of an old English songwriter. And then just put information, just say, call this person if you're interested, and otherwise, hope all is well. Best to your family, and Bucky too, sincerely, Paul McCartney. And my wife then came into the room and said, why are you screaming?
Jessica has a very close relationship with the work of another iconic figure in contemporary music. I speak of Joni Mitchell. And I'll be with you May 30th, 31st?
30th. At NJ-PAC.
Out in New Jersey.
Looking forward
This is a
to
show of her songs.
Uh-huh.
And I remember talking to John about 4 hours before you did it for the first time, I think, which was...
we did it last year at the American Songbook at the Allen Room, which is no longer the Allen Room.
And I talked to John maybe 3 or 4 hours before, and he said, This is the most remarkable and deepest performance that I've ever been associated with. And he was quite serious.
Well, the material is, they're just like doing an evening of plays, little one-act plays that just keep revealing more every time you sing them.
But it's also the way that you present them. Remember that Jessica is an actor as well. And that ability, much like Sinatra's, can
well, never thought I'd hear that my name for this thing.
See, with me, it's usually Sinatra Jr.
What a wonderful guy!
I'll tell you.
I'm sorry.
That talent finds itself, particularly when Jessica sings, well, practically anything, but particularly with the lyrics of Joni Mitchell. Let me ask you one final thing, Jessica. Do you know the state of Joni's illness at the moment?
No, I don't. I don't have any relationship
She's been
with
quite
her.
ill for a long time and in the hospital.
But
That's why I asked.
I have heard that she's not as bad as some people have said she is, but I don't know. I've actually looked on her website because there's a woman who updates it, and I think she's resting comfortably, recuperating.
Resting comfortably.
Aren't we all?
I'm not at all.
Never.
John and Jessica, as usual, I thank you and this wonderful music you've made. And by the way, if ever they come around again, not here necessarily, but with their show, an extended version of what you've seen with more jokes that are even funnier than you made.
More prepared material.
Go and hear them. John Pizzarelli and Jessica Pizzarelli.
Thank you, Jonathan,
Thank you,
for all
Jonathan.
your support.
Now, we have a young woman here tonight who sings very slowly. She doesn't have much of a jazz feeling, but she likes to sing songs just as they were written, as you will hear from Surreal May.
If they asked me, I could write a book about the way you walk and whisper and look. I could write a preface on how we met, so the world would never forget. And the simple secret of replies is just to tell them that I love you a lot. And the world discovers as my book ends how to make two lovers. the way you walk and whisper and look. I could write a preface on how we met, so the world would never forget. And the simple secret of the plot is just to tell them that I like you a lot. And the world discovers as my book ends how to make two lovers, how to make two lovers, how to make two lovers of friends. Thank you.
Whoa! Yay!
He's a fool, and don't I know it? But a fool can have his charms. I'm in love, and don't I show it like a babe in arms? Love's the same old sad sensation. Lately I've not slept a wink since this silly situation's got me on the blink. I'm wild again, beguiled again, a simpering, whimpering child again, bewitched, bothered, and bewildered. Am I? I wouldn't sleep and couldn't sleep when love came and told me I shouldn't sleep. Bewitched, bothered, and bewildered. Am I? Lost my heart, but what of it? He is cold, I agree. He can laugh, but I love it, although the laugh's on me. I'll sing to him, bring spring to him, and long for the day when I'll cling to him, bewitched, bothered, and bewildered. Am I? sing to him, bring spring to him, and long for the day when I cling to him. Bewitched, bothered, and bewildered. Thank you.
Just out and out, that's the most credible and the most beautiful Bewitched I've ever heard in my life.
Thank you.
There is an arrangement. Obviously, there's a fellow playing the piano. Did you manipulate this into precisely what we heard, all top to bottom? The arrangement and the way you sing it?
We didn't rehearse.
That's what musicians can do. Did you hear it, Ted? Wasn't that remarkable?
But I think it's sometimes I prefer to not rehearse because I want to keep the moment fresh. And if I had sung this song in rehearsal, maybe singing it a second time would have not done the same effect than discovering it with you live.
Well, let me ask you something, Ted. How did you know that she'd go to that last note, which is quite a choice that she made?
It was quite a choice. I took my hands off the piano for a second and thought about it.
But you were right there with her, you know.
Sometimes that's what you have to do. You just stop, wait for, I knew she was going to do something very cool, but I just didn't know quite what.
Well, she does this all the time. And I see an international future for this woman. When I first met Cyril, we went to lunch at a place called Mangia in New York City on 57th Street. And she had some papers and a little envelope. And I said, how many songs do you think that you know? I was very skeptical. And she said, about 500-600. I said, really? I said, she opened this book, and there were alphabetically committed to the paper, all the things you are, and right down to Bewitched, and down to Zing with the Strings of My Heart. So I picked out a song, I think it was All the Things You Are. I said, well, sing All the Things You Are. And she gave, at that table, the most beautiful All the Things There Are to me that you possibly imagine. Indeed, she knew all of those songs. How did it, I mean, you are French and you are Puerto Rican.
Dominican.
I should have known better. How come this vast knowledge of these lyrics and these melodies?
Because I love them.
Well, how did you get to know so many of them?
I guess I listen to a lot of music, and when I first discovered that I wanted to sing, someone gave me a 4-box set CD of Ella Fitzgerald, and 4 CDs is already a lot of songs, and I started by just learning these whole 4 CDs by heart. And then there was no fifth CD. So I just wanted more and more and more. And
Ella's Bewitched is lengthy and wonderful on the Rodgers and Hart songbook. And then there's the Gershwin with five, well, it was 5 records when it came out. Now it's one little CD, thousands of songs. But Cyril, I just, well, you know perfectly well what I think of you and your music, and also her tenacity and her work ethic. She studies, she learns, she writes music, she writes lyrics. This is her life, and that's Cyril LeMay.
thank you.
Did she surprise you guys? Oh yeah, I heard. She's astonishing. As in many other ways is this other fellow. I would say about a year ago, I'm constantly going through records. If I come to any of your homes, I'll steal things. I'm dead serious. I'll take recordings from you that I haven't seen or I don't know. I won't take, songs for swinging lovers or something. If there's anything that I don't know, I'll just slip it into my pocket and I'll be gone. I was at Tony Bennett's house one night years ago, and there were some records in a closet, and I opened the closet. I was looking. There was a record that said the Cole Porter medley. And I had no idea what that was, and I knew everything that he'd done. It was wintertime, and I put it into my winter coat, and off I went. However, the next Sunday, on it went to the radio, and I got a call from Tony, who said, thank you, Jonathan, for playing my Cole Porter medley. Never told him. But this fellow came to me because someone sent me a recording. And I was knocked out, as you will be, I know, by the intensity and the immense musical feeling held happily in the hands of Pete McGuinness.
You saw me standing alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own. Blue moon, you knew just what I was there for. You heard me saying a prayer for someone I really could care for. And then there suddenly appeared before me, the only one my arms would ever hold. I heard somebody whisper, please adore me. When I looked, the moon had turned to gold. Blue moon, now I'm no longer alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own. Suddenly appeared before me, the only one my arms would ever hold. I heard somebody whisper, please adore me. And I looked, the moon was gold blue moon. Now I'm no longer alone, without a dream in my heart, without the love of my own. Blue. All I can say is I'm glad I'm not the only one in the house that likes to scat sing. Just great. And there's some really good people here today that do that. Thank you very much. That was Blue Moon. A little tip of the hat to Charlie Parker there at the beginning for the Hepcats out there who knew that came from Star Eyes from Charlie Parker. I didn't come up with that. Next thing is a ballad. It's associated, of course, as a Richard Rodgers tune, but this, for me personally, is associated with one of my heroes, one of the people that got me wanting to be a singer in the first place. I'm talking about the legendary late trumpet player and singer Chet Baker. And, oh man, he's different. He has his own voice. It's a pure sound kind of thing. This is a Richard Rodgers tune he recorded in 1974 on an album called She Was Too Good to Me, with arrangements by Don Sebesky. And this is my take on the tune, and a little tip of the hat to Don Sebesky's arrangement, and of course to Chet Baker. She Was Too Good to Me. Good to me. How will I get along now? So close she stood to me. Everything seems all wrong now. She would have brought me sun making me smile. That was her fun. When I was mean to her, she wouldn't say, "You go away now." I was like a king to her. Who's gonna make me gay now? It's only natural. I'm blue. She was too good to be true. It's only natural. I am so blue. She was too good to be true. She was too good to me. Yeah, man.
Wow. Yeah.
McGinnis. Pete McGinnis, where the wind comes sweeping down the plain. Pete, your goodness. Pete.
Yes, sir.
Why is it that so many years elapsed without somebody sending me an album or doing something to let me know you existed?
I guess I've been working on it for a while.
No,
I'm going
it's
to be
been
ready
out
for you.
I mean, you have 4 albums you made?
I've made 4 albums over the years, yeah.
I have 2.
Yeah, they're coming in the mail.
When will that be?
After the show. Well, Monday the post office opens. We have to wait for that.
You know where to send it?
We'll get that. I'll write
I'll
that
tell you
down.
right now. Do you have a pen on you?
No.
Somebody will write it down for you. 160 Varick Street.
My wife is here. She can do it.
WNYC. I don't know the zip code. I think it's 10023, I think. Okay, 160 Varick Street. I'll be expecting them by Wednesday.
Okay. It's 2-day.
It's to anyone who knows anything about music, you're a sensation. First of all, you're a great arranger. You're a great player, and you do that to difficult songs like Yesterday's by Jerome Kern. Yeah. And, well, T for Two is kind of nice to do. Yeah.
It's timeless. I'm always going to do that tune.
Sure.
How many people like T for Two? Come on, it works.
But I just tell you that I just want you to thrive, and I'm happy to have had a hand in the dish, so to speak, because I won't stop. You're too good. I mean, he's just wonderful, as you heard. His name is Pete McGuinness. Oh, Pete. The woman who will sing next is addressing specifically the score of The King and I, which is, of course, back in town sensationally. She is a woman who I deeply respect. To see her perform, and you can see how much this music means to this woman. She is also a woman with two names, first and last name, both of them misspelled. Her first name is Karen, but it's Karrin. Her second name, well, it's Allison. Allynson. Can you imagine her on the phone with American Airlines? What is your name? It's Karen Allison. Karen, is Karen? No, it's Krrin. Repeat that again, please. And then Allison, Allynson. I mean, she's a pest to the world. But if you're going to be a pest, it's best to be a brilliant performer, singer, and something else about her. Every bit as good as her singing is her playing piano. I don't think she's going to do it today, but boy, is she something. Other wonderful singers played the piano. I mean, Carmen and Sarah did. But this woman really plays beautifully. In any event, Karrinallynson, Karen Allison.
A pest, huh? Right, I'm not going to bother with that. When I think of Tom, I think about the night when the earth smelled of summer and the sky was streaked with white, and the soft mist of England was sleeping on a hill. I remember this, and I always will. There are new lovers now on the same silent hill, looking on the same blue sea. And I know Tom and I are a part of them all, and they're all a part of Tom and me. Hello, troubles are few. All my good wishes go with you tonight. I've been in love like you. Be brave, young lovers, and follow your star. Be brave and faithful and true. Cling very close to each other tonight. I've been in love like you. I know how it feels to have wings on your heels and to fly down the street in a trance. You fly down the street with a chance that you'll meet, and you meet not really by chance. Don't cry, lovers, whatever you do. Don't cry because I'm alone. All of my memories are happy tonight. I've had a love of my own. Yes, I've had a love of my own like yours. I've had a love of my own. To fly down the street in a chance. You fly down the street with a chance that you'll meet, and you meet not really by chance. Don't cry, young lovers, whatever you do. Don't cry because I'm alone. All of my memories are happy tonight. I've had a love of my own. Yes, I've had a love of my own like yours. I've had a love of my own. Hello, young lovers, wherever you are. Hello, young lovers. Thank you very much. Pleasure to be among all these great players, and of course with Mr. Schwartz, because I'm a big fan of his, so I appreciate it. And as he mentioned, I'm doing a couple of songs from The King and I actually have a new project coming out in September of Rodgers and Hammerstein, so this is pretty timely, actually. This next one is We Kiss in a Shadow. Kiss in the shadow, we hide from the moon. Our meetings are few and over too soon. We speak in a whisper, afraid to be heard. When someone is near, we speak not a word. Alone in our secret, smiling day to be free, to kiss in the sunlight and say to the sky, behold and believe what you see. Behold how my lover loves me. In a shadow, we hide from the
Thank you, Karen. Karen. Listen, it's extremely important to me that you know that these people are out there. They're obviously young. They obviously know these songs. This is the American Songbook. It must move forward with humanity. And without these people, we're lost. It's obviously the music of a group of men and women, about 50 of them, basically, who created the American Songbook at the first half of the 20th century. Now here we are, and the music of the streets can't get any lower. These are men and women who are devoted to singing, performing, listening to songs from the American Songbook. And that you are here is very satisfying to me. And I'm just pointing out that these men and women who I play on my program, as I'm sure you know, they are essential to the next 20, 30, and 40 years, as their children will be. For example, the Pizzarellis have a daughter named Madeline that you just won't believe what she can do. Mandy Patinkin has a son named Gideon, who's taken the last name Irving, so he's not Patinkin. For God's sakes, that loud and wonderful father of his. So he's Gideon Irving. but he can sing a storm, and that's the next generation. My job, while I'm here on earth, is to perpetuate the idea of literate lyrics and beautiful melodies, and that's what you're hearing tonight. And these men and women that we've corralled are a part of a group of musicians moving forward, carrying the American songbook. They can only carry it as long as you push them forward by buying, listening, going to the clubs, talking about the music, knowing about Jerome Kern, knowing about Gershwin, knowing about Richard Rodgers. Here is one little thing about Rodgers, which applies to The King and I. It received amazing reviews, as well it should have. And he invited me, age 13, to come with him to a Saturday matinee, just to sneak into the theater to hear the overture of The King and I. And so Rodgers and I went into the theater just as the lights were lowering, and we stood in the back, and the orchestra played the overture to The King and I, which includes many of the melodies you've heard tonight, and particularly from Karen. And I remember taking a brief look over at Rodgers, who was standing to my right. On his face was this most beautiful smile. The joy of hearing his songs from this show, after he'd worked so long with Oscar Hammerstein, was so obvious to me. It is that joy that we must perpetuate, that beatific smile on the face of Richard Rodgers, who was born on the day I was, June 28th. And as a matter of fact, his brother Mortimer brought me into the world. So I can only say that we must preserve the smile on his face. Think of it that way. It was just, he was amazed and proud. So you be amazed and proud as you go through your life. And make sure the music that you choose is beautiful and literate. As of now, you have to search for it. Don't look to the street. You will get neither literate or beautiful. Karen Allison picked two exquisite songs from The King and I, and she sang them magnificently. Karen, before you go, I'd just like you to speak briefly about your background and how you got into my life.
The first time I met you, we performed for the Ella Fitzgerald tribute at Carnegie Hall.
Yes.
That's right.
I remember you dancing with Ann Hampton Cowell.
That's right. Ann and I are great friends. We like to swap the bop, as we say. And you and I have been friends since then.
Well, how did you come to be a singer, and where were you doing this coming?
I am from the Midwest. I'm from Omaha and Kansas City. I've been in New York for about 15 years now, but I started out as a classical music major, classical piano. That's my degree. And but I loved to sing, and I would go get the sheet music of my favorite songs on the radio in those days, which are Carly Simon, Carole King, singer-songwriters. And I would just play some of the guitar changes because I was not a very good sight reader. So I would just improvise. And then when I got into college, my fellow jazz musicians, or fellow students, turned me on to some jazz. And I haven't looked back. Love it.
Who did you admire then?
So many people.
Well,
I think
just a couple.
Right. I guess my big the CD that I loved very much was Cannonball Nancy Wilson CD, And that really turned me
I
around.
think that was her second album.
Maybe so.
It's great.
It is great.
She doesn't sing on all the songs.
No, and that's kind of what I like about it too, because I tend to really, I love instrumental music too. And I actually don't listen to that many singers that often anymore. But
Why not?
I'm busy, and I also like quiet. And I like to let it come in.
To Charlie Hayden or Pat Metheny.
Yeah. Well,
Or some of the great vocalists who have made beautiful Torch albums.
absolutely. And believe me, I've listened a lot in my life, and I still do, but it's not something I seek out all the time to. Because I'm busy. I do my own arrangements mostly, and I'm traveling a lot. But music is obviously a big part of my life, and I live it.
There's no question about it. And all I want these men and women to do is to follow their instinct. And the American Songbook is so essential. Can you imagine without it? Without these songs and without these people? But that's silly because it's hypothetical and silly, and because we have them all. And we have both words misspelled. Corin Allison. One of the sweetest men in the world is here tonight. He's a wonderful musician. He sings in his own wonderful and beautiful way. And to hear him is to sit there and just stare with pleasure. He is Freddie Cole.
Whoa!
There's a small hotel with a wishing well. I wish that we were there together. There's a bridal suite, one room, oh, so neat. I wish that we were there together. Looking through the window, you could see a distant steeple. Not a crowd of people. Now who needs people? But when the steeple bell rings good night farewell, we'll thank that small hotel together. with a wishing well. I wish that we were there together. There's a bridal suite, one room, oh so neat. Hey, I wish that we were there together. Looking through the window, you can see a distant steeple, not a crowd of people. These people, when the wishing well wishes farewell, we'll think that small hotel. We'll think that small hotel. We'll think that small hotel together. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so very, very, very much, and happy Mother's Day to all you wonderful ladies out there. We thank you so much. And thank you, Jonathan, for having me on your show. And thank you for playing my records. We're going to do a selection right here that's been one of my favorites for a number of years. It's called It Never Entered My Mind. Once I laughed when I heard you say that I'd be playing solitaire, uneasy in my favorite chair. It never entered my mind once you warned me that I was mistaken, that I'd awaken with the dawn and order orange juice for one. It never entered my mind, but you have what I lack myself. But now I even have to scratch my back myself. Once you warned me that if you scorned me, I'd say a lonely prayer again and wish that you were there again to get into my hair again. It never entered my mind.
We have Freddie Cole here. Oh, Freddie, your records mean a great deal to me. I use them on the radio. I play them at home. The new one is spectacular. All the Sad Young Men is on that album, which is not a kind of Freddie Cole song. But there it is. I think it's great. And I think you're great. And you're such a part of them and us. Them meaning before us. And these people and all the singers here tonight. And these musicians, Fred, Teddy Firth over there, the piano. I have heard him play magically under great pressure. And all these guys go from city to city with the American Songbook, as do you. What? Just out of curiosity, what is your next goal? What is your next stop? What gig do you have next?
Well, we're going to be here in New York as of Tuesday at Birdland for the rest of the week. And after that, we're back. I live in Atlanta now, and we're doing a date in Atlanta, Georgia, at a new theater there. And it's going to be a lot of fun. We've already sold it out, so. And I'll be doing something at Lincoln Center in June, and then out to Detroit, so we'll be pretty busy.
How long have you been in this business?
Oh, a long time.
How many years?
Several years. I say 50 years. More than that. I don't know.
It's 69
but I've
years.
enjoyed every minute. That's like a song that I do, because I wouldn't change a thing that happened on my way to you.
He told me backstage that he'd recorded a song that my father wrote with Dorothy Fields. It's not very well known, but it's beautiful. It's called I'll Buy You a Star. It's from A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. I didn't know you had recorded it. So as a result of now knowing, you will get it to me this week, won't you? You'll get it to me this week. 160 Varick Street. 8th floor.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll get right on that.
Let me ask you something. What do you mean by we? Who's we? You said we'll get my partner.
Well,
you mean you?
Yeah. If you're going to get done, it's going to be me to get it done.
It's 160 Varick Street. Hey, you came, you saw and heard, and you conquered. I'm grateful to you all. I'm truly grateful that you came to hear this music and will come and come again. And go and support these men and women whenever you see that they're in your neighborhood. This is the cream of the crop. Every one of these musicians. And next year, if invited, we'll see to it that the cream of the crop retains its luster. Because there are a lot of people in this group of musicians who play, sing, or listen. I mean, you're musicians because you hear. So think of yourself as musicians. I mean, I'm dead serious. And as far as the people who actually make the music, they are here for your delectation. Take advantage. I wonder about the next generation. I do wonder. Your children, mine, Arthur Schwartz's grandchildren grew up, the music gene just went flying by them. How could that be? They can't dance, they can't sing, they can't play an instrument. How could this be? But perhaps their children. Teach these songs to children that you have, friends that come over. I cannot say it often enough, and so I'll stop. I'm Jonathan Schwartz. Thanks for coming.